Weakness was for a long time a silent presence in my life. It did not manifest through noise or visible gestures, but through hesitation, silence, and giving up. Every time I had an opportunity, weakness whispered to me that I was not ready, that it was not the right moment, or that others were better than me. At first, I was not aware of it, but over time I understood that weakness was not something outside of me, but a part of myself that I had to face if I wanted to grow. For me, weakness does not mean a lack of value, but a lack of courage. It is that invisible force that makes me choose the easier path, avoid responsibility, and remain in a comfort zone that, although it feels safe, limits me. Eliminating weakness does not mean destroying it, but transforming it into a source of strength. This process began the moment I decided to stop running away from myself. The first step in eliminating weakness was accepting who I am. For a long time, I compared myself to others, believing that my weakness was greater than theirs. I looked at the people around me and saw only their successes, not their hidden struggles. This constant comparison made me feel inferior and increased my insecurity. One day, I realized that every person has their own weaknesses. Not everyone shows them. This awareness helped me accept my imperfections without shame. A decisive moment was when I understood that my weakness feeds on fear. Fear of being judged, fear of making mistakes, fear of disappointing others. Many times, I chose not to act precisely to avoid these feelings. However, avoidance did not protect me. It kept me stuck. I learned that fear does not disappear if I ignore it, but only if I confront it. Therefore, I began to act even when fear was present. Eliminating weakness also meant taking responsibility for my choices. It was easier to blame others or circumstances, but this did not help me grow. The moment I said, "This is my life, and I am responsible for its direction," I felt a deep change. Responsibility gave me control, and control weakened my weakness. Another important step was setting clear goals. I realized that weakness often appears when I do not know what I want. The lack of purpose made me wander and give up easily. When I set goals, even small ones, I gained direction. Every achieved goal proved to me that I am capable, and this concrete proof weakened the voice of doubt in my mind. Self-discipline became an essential part of my transformation. I noticed that motivation comes and goes, but discipline remains. Even on days when I lacked energy or desire, I chose to continue. Through consistent actions, I proved to myself that I could move forward even when it was difficult. In this way, weakness gradually lost ground. An essential aspect of eliminating weakness was the way I spoke to myself. My inner dialogue was often harsh and critical. I told myself that I was not good enough or that I did not deserve success. These thoughts sabotaged me. I began to observe my thoughts carefully and correct them. I did not lie to myself by saying I was perfect, but I told myself that I was in the process of learning. This change in perspective had a major impact on my confidence. I also learned that weakness becomes stronger in isolation. When I isolated myself, negative thoughts grew louder. Communicating with the right people helped me immensely. The support, advice, and encouragement I received helped me understand that I was not alone in my struggle. I learned to ask for help without seeing it as a sign of weakness, but as a sign of maturity. Accepting failure was one of the most difficult lessons. For me, failure was the ultimate proof of weakness. I tried to avoid it at all costs. Over time, I realized that failure is inevitable when you try to grow. Every mistake offered me a valuable lesson. Instead of defining myself by failures, I began to use them as starting points for improvement. Another important element was patience. I wanted fast results and immediate visible change. When these did not appear, I became frustrated. I learned that eliminating weakness is a slow process that requires time and perseverance. Every small step forward matters, even if it is not spectacular. Patience taught me to value the journey, not just the destination. I discovered that weakness never disappears completely. It sometimes returns, especially in difficult moments. The difference is that now I know how to respond. I no longer let it control me. Instead, I use it as a signal that I need to pay more attention to myself. Weakness has become a teacher, not an obstacle. Self-knowledge played an essential role in this transformation. The more I understood myself, the better prepared I was to face challenges. I identified my limits, but also my strengths. Instead of focusing only on what I lacked, I began to value what I already had. This balance gave me emotional stability. Eliminating weakness also meant changing my habits. I gave up procrastination, negative thinking, and self-sabotage. In their place, I built supportive habits, time, organization, daily reflection, and a constant desire to learn. Good habits, repeated daily, had a greater impact than any decision made in a single moment. I understood that true strength does not mean the absence of emotions. I accepted that it is normal to feel fear, sadness, or insecurity. The difference lies in how I choose to respond to these emotions. Instead of repressing them, I accept them and move forward. This emotional maturity helped me stop seeing weakness as a personal failure. Another important step was cultivating self-respect. I learned to respect my limits, but also to push beyond them when necessary. Self-respect helped me say no when needed and defend my values. In this way, weakness lost much of its influence over my decisions. Over time, I realized that eliminating weakness did not turn me into a perfect person, but into a more aware one. I became more attentive to my choices and more responsible for my future. Every day is a new opportunity to test my limits and strengthen my character. Today, I see weakness differently. I no longer view it as a shameful flaw, but as a natural part of the process of growth. Without weakness, I would not have learned what true strength means. Every confrontation with myself brought me closer to my best version. In conclusion, eliminating weakness is a personal journey different for every individual. For me, it meant acceptance, responsibility, discipline, and courage. It was a difficult but necessary process. Weakness did not define me. It challenged me to evolve. And choosing not to give up was the greatest proof of strength I discovered within myself.